shit.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Sideline Summit. I'm Antonio Perez, joined as always by Danny Code, DC, UPenn's finest, Chris Coacher, CB Coacher Boy. We got another great episode for you guys today. We will be talking about the linebackers and defensive backs of this upcoming NFL draft. As you know, we have about 2 episodes before the draft, I believe, at least football-wise. So we're turning the notch up a little bit. Going to do 3 position groups this week and then 3 next week with the trenches. But before we get into any of that, want to make sure to leave me a reminder, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications so you don't miss a single upload from any of the great shows on the network. Audio listeners, you know what to do. Leave a like, 5-star review, download the episode if you liked it. All that good stuff to push the algorithm. But let's not waste any time. We'll go right to Summits and Plummets with Danny.
Yeah. So great, very great. Summit, my birthday weekend. We kind of did that on Monday, but it is here. It's upon us. We're going out to a nice restaurant tonight in Philly called Laser Wolf. So looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Should be a great time. And yeah, my plummet.
If you have one on your birthday weekend, you're a little greedy. But
I have one. It's probably the way we went into Christmas. So we decided to go out for the Phillies last night to just hang out, watch the Phillies. They got rain delayed. We're there for like 4 innings. We're like watching the game. They got rain delayed. They picked back up like 2 hours later, and like the players just looked so like lethargic. They didn't want to be there.
Yeah, unfortunate.
And they happened to get walked off in there. Actually, I don't know. It's no good, no bueno. But it's all right. Because look, it's one game, and the Braves are still 3-9.
Yeah, but they're making the playoff push now. It's all over.
Yeah, they need to
turn
win
the season around.
12 straight.
They're going 153-9. They're reporting.
Hey, Strider's back. Strider's back in 4 days,
insane.
so I am scared. In the playoffs, it's different, but regular season, Spencer Strider, 1 of 1. He's better than Paul Skeens. Stamp that right now.
He's coming off a torn ACL, right?
No, UCL.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Actually, he didn't. He had an internal bracing surgery. Actually, he didn't really tear it. Well, it's like it's not Tommy John. It's like a variation of Tommy John that is less severe.
Oh, same elbow injury or whatnot.
But apparently, actually, I did want to mention this. A baseball player. There's this big report that came out in the offseason that said that these players, a lot of their elbow injuries are because they're throwing a certain way, and that certain way gives them extra velo. So these players have tweaked their throwing mechanics in the offseason. So you might see good players who typically aren't, who are really good, take a fallback because they're throwing less velo for arm care. Interesting.
Geeks. Back in my day, our high school coaches would just have the pitchers run the entire practice so that they can throw another 80-something pitches the next day.
Yeah, that made no sense to me. You generate torque on your bottom half, and they're like, on your off day, you need to go run a mile.
Yeah, no, they had A-Rod take monster laps, bro. Oh, my God.
Yeah. Shouldn't you just be resting overall? Like, you generate power from your legs. That's why Aroldis Chapman is 38 years old throwing 102 miles an hour.
I don't know. Donnelly was cooking, though, I have to say. It worked.
Somehow worked.
Chris, what about you? What summits and plummets from the past couple of days are coming up?
I don't know if I mentioned in my last summit that I was going to the Wings game, the first Wings game. I know I was talking about it with y'all, but I don't know if I said it on the show.
Not the Philly Wings, the Dallas Wings.
Yeah, the Dallas Wings. The
not the Philly lacrosse team.
The Enrique and Paige led, soon to be led, Dallas Wings. But I don't know. I think I might have said that last time, but I'm really gassed about that. So I'll use a different one. I went to go see one of my friends graduated from the firefighter academy yesterday, which is really cool. I've never been to one of those, and I didn't know like they do like a demonstration. Like they do a couple of different things. So like they simulate going into a burning building, simulate going into a burning, like putting out a fire in a burning car. They show like how far the ladder goes and like how the water is sprayed down. and just cool. They kind of show like how they go, like what's the protocol for going out on like runs and stuff, how to break open doors with like all these different type of tools. It was just cool to see. There's a lot of people out there supporting, so that was really dope to be a part of. Shout out to my friend Aaron for graduating and moving on. Really dope. So I say that's one of my summit.
That's a Darvingham salute right there.
Yeah, for real. I literally sent them the memoji that I sent y'all. Yeah, literally, same exact one. So that's one of my summits. Fake plummet. It's really fake, but it's kind of real. I was supposed to be. Well, my girlfriend's going to the Mavs game today, and I'm not going. So all girls, they're going to the game, and I'm not. Now I'm not mad that I'm not going to see Najee Marshall and company, but it's like at the same time, like how do I not get invited to go to a basketball event? Like without me, she wouldn't even give about basketball. So it's like,
who are they playing?
I feel like that. I think the Tropics, led by Will Ferrell. I have no clue. I think I forgot who they're playing though. I think they're playing. I don't even know. Let me see. Let's see. See, that's what I'm saying. I don't even know. Mavs game today. I just want to go yell fire Nico. Oh, they're playing the Raptors. Oh yeah. Well, actually, that may not even be as bad of a plummet because they're not even playing Scotty Barnes and company. Shout out Jamal Shed though. That's my plummet. I feel left out. I got played, so now I'm on doggy duty, which is cool because my little buddy he likes Warzone apparently. I was playing Warzone last night, and all the sounds he was like not scared. He was just like locked in, and then he like kind of fell asleep. Then I yelled on accident, woke him up. So yeah, I think it's like a summit plummet, like a little bit of both. So we'll take that.
When I had Queen, by around the time I got Queen, like the NBA bubble was like in play,
Ooh.
and it's definitely she was susceptible to some yelling because I would stay up to watch. Like I ain't have nothing to do, so I'm watching every single game.
Cook
and
King,
yeah,
Cook Queen Cook.
I think the one I remember specifically was like the Lakers Rockets series.
That Queen Cook series.
LeBron destroyed Russell Westbrook that series. It was
Bro,
so bad.
I will say too, and during that time, bro, I remember so vividly the Bam block on Tatum because the first thing I said was his fingers got to be broken. I yelled it out as loud as I possibly could. His fingers got to be broken. I remember yelling that, but apparently it wasn't broken. Bam's a fake person, but I do remember saying that really, really loud.
I mean, like
screamed it.
Just a straight up block. I mean, that was just one of the best I've ever seen, bro. That was
Giannis might be
Kawhi
better.
followed it up with a finger block too, like a couple.
Okay, all right. Let's get something out the way. Danny, what did I say? I said it was one of the best I've ever seen, and you said, "Nah, I think Giannis got to be better." I didn't say Bam was the best I've ever seen. I said it's one of the best.
I know. I think.
Yeah, but what does Giannis's block have to do with this? I said this is one of the best blocks I've ever seen. I didn't say it was the GOAT block.
That's fair.
So you're saying, nah, Giannis's was better. It can be better, but we weren't talking about that.
I had to bring it up.
Okay. I guess you don't have
he's
to.
Talking COVID. He's talking COVID times. I'm like,
yeah. What you mentioned was an entire like
year.
Yeah, later. Like, what are you talking about?
That's still COVID times to me. It's not the bubble, but
what does that have to do with Bam's block? What does it have to do with it?
I don't know. For whatever reason, when I think Bam, I think Giannis stopper in my head because that was like his like term in his head.
You need to be checked into a rubber room. That's what you
every time I hear Bam, Giannis immediately pops in my head.
What I think you hear every time I open my mouth is just the baked in your head to just automatically disagree, even though like I wasn't even trying. Like Giannis's block is better, but no, like I didn't say it wasn't. You just brought it up so randomly. Oh, I digress. That block was crazy though. Summit, Danny already said the birthday weekend for himself, which is going to be dope. But Tatum gamed the Knicks. He owns the Knicks. Mikal Bridges, 5 first-round picks just to become Mikal Tatum, just to become Deuce's little brother. It's kind of crazy.
Imagine trading 5 picks from Mikal Bridges and then might be Devin Booker, Giannis available. Just imagine.
Chris,
I did see that.
Funny enough, we were hooping with Mikal Bridges' cousin.
Was he better than Mikal? Like by far?
No, he's not better.
But he was good though. He was really good.
Yo, we didn't realize he was a lefty till halfway through the game.
Yeah, so I was guarding him because otherwise it would have been like, and obviously every time you go to play pickup at a random gym, it's like, okay, I'm forcing him to go left because I'm just gonna assume. And he goes to his left, stops, and then shoots a jumper. But when I'm contesting, like I'm not really seeing what hand he's shooting with, because I'm more so trying to like put my hand in his face. He hits it off glass. I was like, okay, he's a really good player. Halfway through the game, I'm like, I actually got like a real look at his jump shot. I said, I've been forcing him left the whole time. I'm just letting him do what he wants. This is so crazy. I didn't even think about that. So like halfway through the game, I switched it up. But then they subbed in a guy who was like entirely fresh. And yeah, that was crazy. Gotta love runs at Fusion Gyms. But yeah, it was still dope.
Bro, he think he's Brickley. Bro, he made his gym where he don't have 3-point corner.
Yeah, it's small and stupid, to be entirely honest. But yeah, Summit is the Celtics are on a roll. Jaylen Brown, his knee has been an issue, which I hope doesn't remain an issue. But what I will say is though, a Tatum ring with a limited Jaylen Brown would do great for the agenda. But I depending on matchups, we kind of need Jaylen Brown. So um, I guess that'll be the plummet. I think he's actually missed the 65 game mark. Not that I think he was gonna make an All NBA team this year, but he's ineligible. A lot of players are ineligible. Wemby, Dame
Wembiyama?
Lillard.
Bro,
Yeah,
Victor
I said Wemby.
Wembiyama? Wembiyama.
Is
Chris,
that what I
there's a
said?
video I'm talking about. No. Chris, there's a video I'm talking about.
You guys have inside jokes now. That's cool.
No.
No. I get it. That's cool.
Do you get it? You know what video I'm talking about? The deep cut.
No, I don't. That's why I say you got inside jokes now. That's cool though. That's cool.
I actually have no idea.
You have no
But
idea.
I have no
Yeah,
idea.
Danny is the inside joke. It's in his head though.
I have to show y'all after the show.
Okay. Well, how about we actually get this thing kick-started? Let's talk some linebackers. My initial thought on this linebacker group, a bunch of meatheads. That's kind of, the general consensus I have of them. But I can go first with my linebacker one. I know a lot of sites have Jalen Walker at one, and that's a fine one in my opinion. I don't think, I'm splitting hairs with my preference, but I have Jahad Campbell out of Alabama as my linebacker one. The only thing I truly think he's susceptible to, just going to start with his one and only flaw, not his one and only flaw, but his biggest flaw, in my opinion. He's susceptible to second level blockers. And not saying he can't take them on. It's just like it feels like he wants no business with it. He's not engaging a lot. And when he does engage, he does a good job getting off of the block. But he'd rather go around and then make up ground later, which is like not necessarily ideal. For your off-ball linebacker, you'd rather him engage, set his edge, or force him in a direction and then go pursue. However, besides that, I think he's great. He's good at getting downhill. I think he's a good pass rusher when called upon. His zone coverage, I think, is the best of any backer in this draft. The play recognition is great. He also is a little susceptible to over pursuing, but it could be where your linebacker could not be pursuing at all. So I think over pursuing isn't really that big of a deal, especially with someone like him who has like linebacker, I think sideline to sideline range. So Jahad Campbell, my linebacker one. Who'd you guys have at one? I think Chris, you were saying before, or sorry, whoever wants to go first can, don't matter.
I was going to say, my linebacker one is pretty clear. It's also Jahad Campbell. I think he can come in and play a little of this like kind of dynamic role where he can kind of blitz. He can do a lot because he's a bigger body. I don't want him to be used the way Jack Campbell's being used as a first round pick when he was by the Lions. I feel like Campbell is just being underutilized by the Lions, and he's making an impact, but it just feels like they're trying to do too much. I feel like that happens with first round linebackers as well. They try to force them into a role or use them in unique ways instead of just letting them play.
Yeah, and it's hilarious of like first round linebackers over like the past decade or so.
Micah Parsons is like the
They're
only one that stands out.
yeah, and if we're talking off ball linebackers, the numbers are slim. Like off the top of my head,
Devin
Sean
Bush,
Gary,
Devin Bush,
Devin.
and
Okay,
Devin White were.
let's Devin Bush needs some context at the very least.
He was awesome. He was awesome his first
Towards
couple years.
Achilles, that's a death sentence for a linebacker or any guy who's a little bit of buff size as Boogie Cousins. Um, but yeah, the first round linebackers have been they've been tough to come to find. So like when you're looking at
Don't
this
trade
group,
for
it's like,
one.
oh yeah, these groups are great and they're meatheads and they're sideline to sideline, but it's like we said this about a couple different classes and it hasn't gone all too well. But I hold out a little bit more hope for this group.
Dude, your boy last year, Edgar Cooper's not a first round pick, but he was awesome. He's awesome for the Packers last year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Edgerrin Cooper, he's just like a bit of a smaller sample size just due to years, but think about the best linebackers in the league right now. It's Fred Warner, Zach Bond, and then it's and Roquan Smith's in that group. Roquan is like the only like top 50 prospect linebacker I think in the last decade to like get a second contract, and it wasn't even with the team that drafted him. He had to
Yo,
get traded to get that deal.
you pop Luke Kuechly in today's NFL. He's a top 10 linebacker. I'm convinced.
Like Luke Kuechly, like literally right now, or like Luke Kuechly when
Right
he was.
now, like if he gets like into shape, into
Oh
playing
my god,
shape.
yeah. Give Luke Kuechly a summer, bro. He's right in that top range with
I
Warner
think
and
he's only
Smith
like 33. I mean, I know
and
33 is
Bond.
older, but he's only like 33, I think, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. I think he's like 33.
He's like, yeah,
He was an animal.
it's crazy. I can't believe he wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer. Truly breaks my heart.
He's an
He was
animal.
easily a first ballot Hall of Famer. I can't believe they did him like that.
And he headbutted a person with a helmet on without his helmet on. So that
Yeah,
shit.
Yo,
and he wasn't on roids like Brian Cushion.
Yeah.
bro, that's crazy to think. Luke Kuechly's only like 3 years older than like TJ Watt.
It's insane,
Yeah,
bro. It's
yeah,
insane.
and like what Andrew Luck's also around the same age.
I think Andrew Luck's
They came,
32. Oh,
they
34.
came in at the same time.
I think Andrew Luck's
Well,
34. But like
extremely
around
young.
that age.
Nah, Andrew Luck turning 36 this year. He's a little older.
Oh, I thought
Oh,
34.
okay. Oh, right, because he stayed the extra year at Stanford, and
Yeah,
yeah, you're right.
he's a little
Well,
older.
Chris,
but it's all right.
I think you were saying before the show that you had Walker, which, in my opinion, I think they're a little bit close. Like a lot of the sites will have Walker at one, a lot of the geeks will have Campbell at one. I'm a little bit of both. I like both. What do you think about Walker?
Yeah, I have Walker one only because I have him like 1A, 1B. And the reason I have it like that is when I look at position like linebacker, I just usually try to give the edge to who I think's the best athlete of the bunch. And I think Jay Walker might be just the best pure athlete. And obviously football, where linebackers play like that middle of the field type. You get a lot of quick receivers there. You got to make a lot of quick decisions. So I kind of lean towards the better athlete. But I think Jahai Campbell has, I would say, probably better upside and probably can be better right now. But for me personally, like I said, I just usually lean towards athlete in most. I mean, obviously, when people hear my takes, there's a lot of leaning towards the better athlete just because we're talking about athletic things. But that's why I give Jalen Walker the edge there. I just think he's a freak athlete. Like watching him move, I was just like, wow, he seems like an NFL linebacker. I'm not saying he's going to be your best guy, but he seems like the build, the athlete to be one. So I have them really 1A, 1Bs, but I give the nod to Jalen Walker. And just to add a little pizzazz to it.
Yeah,
I
and
like that.
I don't think me and Tony really have an argument for who's at two. I think we both can agree that these two are the bona fide 1A, 1B. It's not. It's like Tet and Travis. It's those two guys, and it's drop off.
Yeah, I guess you could look at it that way. I would say my only with Jalen Walker is that like what's he played 11 games at off ball linebacker, and he's already so good. And I think really the only thing I would like that like has to change, but luckily like you said, Chris, he's such a good athlete. He's just a little raw in man. He has great zone recognition. I think putting him a level, putting him in that linebacker level, he can recognize. He's really good at dissecting, pre-snap. It's just a matter of man technique. But when you're an athlete on the level that he is, I don't have too many worries about him
Yeah, man. If
transitioning to the NFL.
the Philadelphia Bulldogs might be given a call, that's all I'll say.
Philadelphia Bulldog. Oh, Yeah, yeah. Maybe. I hope so. I mean, we usually save Bama for offense, but hey, if he wants to compare up with Bond, we aren't complaining.
Oh, I'm
We
talking
love our
about Walker.
No, I know. I'm saying, but like they're Georgia Bama. We usually put
Oh yeah.
Bama for offense, Georgia for defense, but SEC is the goal, and which I think my third guy, Demetrius Knight Jr. out of South Carolina, a little bit of an older prospect. I think we can all agree. I think he was a 6-year senior, coming out
6 year
of the
senior.
real USC. Let me not say that. But he's very physical. I think probably the most physical of the guys that we're going
Lord.
to talk about. Like he, Chris knows, an invincible conquest is like, I'm not doing this because for the voucher. I'm here because I enjoy this. That is Demetrius Knight Jr. I'm blowing up the backfield because I want to do this. I'm taking on 290-pound linemen because I live for this. Like it's truly great. He's just a flat out football player. He takes on blocks. He sheds blocks. He's good in zone coverage. Um, I think the only thing that I would probably say is again he's a little bit. He can over pursue a little bit, which again about linebackers, it's not the end of the world. Um, and he's just limited in man due to hip mobility, straight line speed, things like that. But he has potential in zone. I think another thing that might get him caught up is just his. Sometimes he could be overly patient when trying to read his keys, whereas other guys, it's like, oh, they get caught looking at the backfield and they're stepping up now they're out of the play. He's a little too patient, which sometimes blockers can get to the second level a little bit too far upfield, and you'd rather like your linebacker to meet them at. So that's the only thing I got. That's all I got
Man,
about him.
he's a grown man. He's playing in
Man,
his age 25 season. He
yeah,
is
yeah.
3 years younger than Zach Bond
Okay.
and Fred Warner.
God forbid a guy gets an education. Okay, you can be a
I'm sorry.
meathead and still love the books.
Last time I checked, 18 plus 6 is not 25.
18 plus 24. Mm. I hope you know earlier when I had to Venmo you the money, I was like, all right, I'm sending him 32. Sending him how much I got left.
He
Broke out
said,
a calculator and all, bro.
he
Horrible.
said carry the zero at.
The whole time I had to
Oh,
send $15.
yep.
Like, just not good at math. But what are your thoughts on Demetrius Knight Jr. and where do you guys have him on your prospect list for linebackers?
Yeah, I also have him at 3. I think this top 3 is very, very solidified. Uh, to be honest, the SEC linebacker play is typically pretty good. We see them turn out.
It's like their thing.
Look, Oklahoma had good linebackers when their defense was given it 50 points a game.
Are we talking like Kyler years?
Yeah, they had solid linebackers. That was Kenneth Murray. Kenneth
No,
Murray was solid.
I think Kenneth Murray was like a big fish, small pond type of deal. He just
He was
wasn't as
solid,
bad as everyone else.
bro. If you put a decent defense around him there, he could be a solid.
I mean,
linebacker.
like, of course. Okay, here's my point. How has Kenneth Murray looked in the NFL?
Okay, solid linebacker.
Not good.
Journeyman.
He ain't good, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
Journeyman. My point. He's like 26. 26 and a journeyman already. But um, no, I do get your point. I do get your point. I'm pretty sure Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma might have actually had a really good linebacker this year. But you guys can keep going about Demetrius Knight while I find that.
they do have a very good linebacker this year.
Oh, what was his name? I don't think I got a chance to watch him though. We're gonna find him. But oh yeah, Danny Stutzman, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna guess what his ethnicity is, but shout out to him. Chris, what were your thoughts on Demetrius Knight Jr., South Carolina linebacker?
I kind of took the NBA approach here. Like when you get a fifth year senior, even though he's a 6 year senior, like they're just NBA ready off rip because they played 70 years in college. That's how I feel about him. Like I think he's going to be able to fit into a good team, like a team that's already ready to compete because he knows, he's seen pretty much every scheme you can see in college at this point. He's been around. And like I said, put that with the tools that he already has. I think he's just ready to contribute now, even if it's not for 10 years. I think he's a guy that you can get, and then he can be able to contribute plug and play right now. Like if you already have a solid defense and you need depth at linebacker, you need someone who can make a splash. But I think he'd be ready to do that just because, like I said, he's already been around for a little while. So I had him at 3-2. It was close. I was gonna put, just off name recognition alone, I had another person I was gonna put at 3, but I couldn't outshine the just like I said, the readiness. Like I said, I'm a guy who I love picking younger prospects when it comes to NBA, but like I think in football, since you can't lead to your junior anyway, I think being older isn't as bad because, like I said, most teams who are picking where that person's probably going to get picked, they're probably a team that's already competing right now, so they can just kind of come in and contribute and not be looked at to have to be a star or have to be rookie of the year. So I think he's a pretty good prospect for where he's projected to go.
I agree.
Yeah.
Oklahoma linebacker I was talking about, Nick Bonito.
Nick Bonito, yes.
One of my favorite linebackers in the NFL to watch. He brought a spark back to the Broncos defense last year.
Yeah, he was really good. I think he was getting like some
deep
early on. He was
getting some recognition, but then people were like, he's kind of just like a sack merchant, which is like, no,
Not true.
that's like he got better throughout the year, but like early on, it was just like he was very limited and he was only getting sacks. And I was like, that's a real
6, I think.
Good for him. Good for him. That anyone who had him in Defensive Player of the Year talks is out of their mind.
Yeah, no. If you watch the Broncos games, though, he is the like pure leader of that team, like of that defense.
Yeah,
like he makes plays happen. So, shout out him. That was the linebacker. I'd go back and look at the team.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, when you're getting 50 put up on your noggin, I'm sure no one's Googling who's on the defense. So
every game, did they lose to Oklahoma State like 65 to like 60 or something?
That year, I think their only loss might have been Kansas State.
Maybe Baker's year they lost to him, but all I know is that time frame.
I think Kyler might have got handed a worse defense than Baker. I'm not gonna lie.
He probably
Kyler got into the college football playoff. They had to play number 1 Alabama. It was 21-0 at the end of the first quarter. Like Kyler was out. Kyler still, and I think finished the game with like 31 points. Like he did his part, but it's not enough. But let's move on to what I would deem like the next tier of these linebackers. This guy, I think we could talk about this guy first because I think we're bigger fans of. I don't know. Let's talk about Chris Paul Jr. out of Ole Miss. No, not related to CP0, but Ole Miss linebacker. I have him in my 5 spot. The only thing I have him separating him and Schwessinger from UCLA is just Chris Paul is a little bit smaller. It's not the first time you've ever heard that either. He's a good zone defender. He's got good play recognition. He's just like a good, high IQ guy you're going to want on your team. My thing is he's limited as a pass rusher and he's susceptible to those second level blocks. He's got short arms. And it's a very real topic of discussion per se. So that's where I got him at 5. But otherwise, I mean, I think, if he's in my 5th rated linebacker, that would probably make him like a day 2, a late day 2 pick, maybe even day 3, but I don't think he'll drop that far. I think he could fall into a pretty good situation, but that's my thoughts on him.
Yeah, I love Chris Paul. I like Chris Paul here at 4 for me personally. Not even just on name recognition. He plays like a really pivotal role in that defense. Really projects to be like more like a Will in the NFL. And look, he is a little undersized, but I think, playing in the SEC, if you can hang in the SEC being an undersized linebacker, I'll take it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I am splitting hairs when it comes to the two of them. So,
like if he played at like Eastern Carolina,
yeah,
I would have been like, all right, bro, like you understand?
Yeah,
you could run a 4.2. I don't care. Like,
you know what?
Go play corner at that point.
Let me swap my 4 and 5. I'll put Chris Paul Jr. at 5 just because the more I'm thinking about it, like I've never even been one to go into arm length narrative, so I don't even know why I put it down. And plus, I like his football IQ a lot more than Shoesinger. So I'll bump him up to 4. Chris, this is the one time we'll allow you to talk about Chris Paul and not your Chris Paul.
CP3, by the way, respect top
CP
point guard all the time.
CP2. CP is 2 for
Respect.
this guy. This guy's
bow to the Paul God.
Respect top 7 point guard of all time. We'll talk soon. But yeah, I think the reason
Only top 10.
Yeah, only top 10. Because I mean, no rings. I got him. I got him top 7. He's in my top 7.
Yeah, I was gonna say like he's more like top.
He's like literally 6 for me. But we'll save that for another day. I have agendas to push. But the reason why
Junior.
The reason why I have Junior at 4 over 5 is similar to what you said, and the reason why I love Chris Paul, the basketball player, is like small, but IQ kind of makes up for a lot of what he doesn't have athletically or just physically. So, and I think football is a sport where people don't give enough credit to how smart you have to be to play certain positions or to be able to react in real time. And I think that's something that he can make up for. Like I said, you're not looking for a superstar where he's going to get picked. And again, I think situation is going to matter a lot where he can come in and just contribute. And I think having IQ is going to help him be able to do that. So I've seen linebackers that are very good athletes with no IQ not stick around. And you got guys who just are making sure they're in the right position, right spot. And I think he's a guy who can be able to do something like that. So that's why I have him at 4. Like I said, not looking for a superstar here anyway. I think he could be a contributor, at his best in the NFL.
And the IQ, along with what Danny said, they're projecting him to be a will. He'll be alongside a Mike linebacker. Like, imagine we put Chris Paul Jr. next to a Roquan Smith. He's high IQ. That's also a guy he's easily teachable. And the Ravens have had their struggles last year trying to find out who we're going to put next to Roquan Smith along with
David
Roquan
Ojabo.
Smith.
I watched Malik Harrison. I watched him with my own 2 eyes. And if he can get on the field with Roquan Smith, anybody can. I know it.
Yeah.
He doesn't
So
what happened to Trenton Simpson, dude?
IQ. Very good athlete. No IQ. He literally doesn't know where he's supposed to be.
Yeah. Where Patrick Queen, it's kind of the same thing, but Patrick Queen is more gifted, so he can get away with it.
Yeah.
But that kind of leads me to the point with Schlesinger, with from UCLA, where he's just a complete bat out of hell. Okay, like I don't know if he's really reading anything. And he lives and dies by it, and he lived a lot more than he died by it. But a guy like that with the physical tools that he has, the speed he plays at. Chris Paul, Demetrius Knight, those are guys who, like, we talked about the last year's NBA draft class. It was like, this is a role player draft. This is a will linebacker draft. This is like, you're not finding your guy with these 3, but you're finding the guy to help your guy. Like, if you're the Eagles, all right, we got Zach Bond. Dean's going to be back, but you can never have too much depth. Well, let's say in a scenario where Dean gets hurt again because he is injury prone. You plug in Chris Paul Jr., which would be huge because you lost Oren Burks, who I thought played a really good playoff run. I think he kind of proved the point of having a good backup will. And all of these guys are not incapable of playing Mike. But I would say it's probably the top 2 guys that are more susceptible to transitioning to a Mike. But yeah, Schlesinger, all I really gotta say, like he just, it's an instinct with him, matched with a little bit of gambling.
Who reminds me of?
Just a crazy guy. He's a crazy guy.
He reminds me. He feels like a Minnesota Viking. He reminds me a lot of Alex Anzalone.
He reminds me of Ginkgo. A little bit. If he can be
Ginkle, Van Ginkle. Why did I say Anzalone? Anzalone too as well. Anzalone and
but
Ginkle,
Van Ginkle. Like, if you can get Schlesinger to buy into these athletic traits and make sure he's using his gambling right. Oh yeah, this is a Swiss Army knife. We're talking for sure. Again, it's not your guy, but it's like your Alex Caruso,
Yeah, Van Ginkle is baller. Very underrated linebacker.
Complete Swiss Army knife.
Will role. Yeah.
A Dyson Daniels.
Yeah. Shout out Alex Anzalone too. He kind of plays a little of that similar downhill, first instinct downhill. You're gonna drop him into coverage, you're getting cooked.
Yeah. And also
Not
shout out
entirely.
Ivan
But
Pace. Ivan Pace
Ivan
went
Pace.
undrafted and was a day one starter. Salute. So the linebackers that don't get drafted, I promise you, like linebackers, probably the one position where you can go undrafted and you can find your way back.
Yeah.
Chris, any words on Schwessinger, or do we want to get into sleepers?
I don't think none that y'all already didn't say. So I don't want to just
Okay.
repeat that because I think y'all both kind of handled it very well. But I do want to say something when you brought up Alex Caruso. One day we will speak about how Alex Caruso and Josh Giddey helped the Bulls start the rebuild because it seems like the Thunder might have got fleeced, but the Thunder got what they needed and the Bulls got what they needed. We'll
Yeah,
talk
so
soon.
that makes me hard to say like anyone got fleeced per se, because it's like what Giddy does, SGA does, but better. So it's like kind of you have no
Can
need
do
for
both,
Giddy.
right? Exactly.
But I will say at the time, the Bulls only getting a first round pick out of it is kind of like, ugh. But I mean, hindsight, hey, you got a developmental, like a real cornerstone. So
Mhm. But yeah, I think y'all already kind of said it all. And I think, like I said, he's athletic enough to figure it out. So, like, I think at some point, like, either he's going to be athletic enough to figure it out or athletic enough to become a high school coach, one or two. But either way, he's going to still be athletic enough. So, like I said, I'm erring on the side of he figures it out. Because, like I said, a lot of times athleticism rules. Uh,
yeah.
so,
All right. Well, I'm gonna get into my sleeper before we get into these corners. I have no shame. I picked Kobe King out of Penn State. Um, just essentially what he reminds me of is um, a older and a little washed Bobby Wagner. The man skills aren't great. The raw pass rush ability isn't great. But he's sideline to sideline. He's the quarterback of a defense. He can see the entire field from just 4 yards past the line of scrimmage. Is a good zone defender, I would say, in my opinion, giving his shorter height, uh, wider frame. Um, yeah, that's why I got to say on Kobe King. I like him. Um, Honestly, he was a little more Mike, I think, at Penn State, but I could see him doing both. I think he's got the ability to do both. Will might project a little bit better just because of his coverage limitations. But I like my boy a lot. We're gonna miss him. Hopefully, he goes to the Eagles, so I don't miss him too much.
Yeah, my favorite. I like Kobe King out of Penn State. He went under repped just because of Abdul Carter and noise he makes. One of my favorite deep cut linebackers in this draft is none other than Ismail Munden. This
Yeah,
guy
we
has
talked
a
about this
lot of
yesterday.
physical traits. Plays in a Georgia defense. He plays very fast and hard. I think you can't really teach that about linebackers. They just have it or they don't. They don't like. It's hard to teach how to use your hands to be strong. You can teach hand placement, but you can't teach strong hands. So
Yeah.
I do really believe he could be. He's more so an off-ball backer in this draft.
hmm
So I like. I love to see where he falls.
Yeah, Munden. What I kind of like about him, he is a little bit smaller for a linebacker, but what he has that a lot of other linebackers in the class don't have, he can cover. Like he's got hips, he's got the motion to like really cover.
Yeah.
So luckily we talked about this yesterday and I didn't get to watch him, but I read up on him a little bit. And you know, when you're watching one player, you end up thinking, oh wait, that was another one I was watching. When you're watching Walker, he obviously pops up. So um, I
You
like
know who
that.
Small Monday really reminds me of though a little bit. He reminds me a little bit of like a Nolan Smith hybrid, but he's gonna play off-ball middle linebacker,
Yeah, he's
maybe
gonna
even
play off
will.
ball, but I could see it from like the undersized. Like he's got some pass rush ability to him.
Yeah, like
I can
and
see that.
but Nolan Smith had a crazy combine. Is the only difference.
Yeah,
So he shot
now
up the
he's a
draft
beast.
boards.
Now he's a beast.
I mean,
Chris,
he's
who's your sleeper
1-1.
for this linebacker group?
I don't even know if it counts as a sleeper, but I just know we didn't say him yet. And this is kind of one thing I like about linebackers sometimes if they were previous safeties. Jeffrey Bassa from Oregon. I like him just because I think the ability to be able to hit and be able to read, I think that translates best to the safety linebacker, like when you swap those roles. And like I said, I think he can be an impact player because of those traits, especially in the NFL now where so many crossing routes, so many underneath things. Having a guy there who's already played that deep back role, who's comfortable there, being in the being able to be in the middle, and how vocal he was for Oregon, I think that just screams like a solid linebacker for a good team. So I'd say him just because I like the versatility. Because even if you need to drop him back in coverage, obviously he's done it before. He's learned how to play linebacker, so I think he could be kind of what Dan just mentioned, like a really good hybrid. So that's the guy I say to look out for.
Yeah, I like that. I like
Even
that.
though Oregon defense, I really don't think Oregon in defense ever. I just think Oregon jerseys or Oregon offense. But I think he's one of the ones I would think about in that sense.
Yeah,
I got one more
he's
guy
very versatile. Go ahead.
that I would love to discuss. And he played in the national championship actually, but not for the winning team. He played for Notre Dame. It's Jack Kaiser. He might be one of the best instinctual players in this draft, in this as a linebacker. Uh, he's not the most athletic, but he tackles really well. He follows his man as well. He knows how to get to the next. It feels like he's almost a play ahead. He makes big plays for the team. So I really love him. Uh, the one thing I can't wait to see this guy come out. Dane Jackson out of Georgia, not coming out this year, but when he does,
Georgia will continuously be they'll be continuously putting their linebackers in the lab and sending them to
dude,
the NFL.
what he did to when they played Georgia Tech, insane. He won them that game indirectly.
Yeah.
But
Let's move on to the corners. Spend a hefty, not a hefty amount of time on the backers because it's always good talking about those meatheads. But let's move on to the corners, and I think we can save a little bit of time with our corners because I think everybody and their mother knows who our one is.
yes, let's best
Travis
corner.
Hunter.
Yeah, Travis Hunter. Hi, uh, rat celebration, all that. That's him.
Who I do want to pose this question to Chris because I asked you off the show already, Danny. Chris, what gap is bigger, Hunter to the next receiver or Hunter to the next corner?
I think it's Hunter to the next. Let me think. Yeah, Hunter to the next corner. I'd
I
say.
agree. That, that's
Right.
what I think.
Even
Which look,
people,
I'm
yeah,
still big on Will Johnson. We'll get to that in a second, but
same. And I like a couple corners in this draft actually, but I think with Tet, even if people don't like how he tested, whatever the case may be, he's still huge. And you're gonna take a chance at a 6'4" guy who can go up and get jump balls. You're going to. So and I
Oh,
think
worst case, he's Mike Williams.
that's what I'm saying. At the least you get
Worst
a guy
case. Worst
or
worst
case.
case, and doesn't have an injury history to my knowledge.
right. So it's like for theirs, like the gap's still there, but it's like 6'4", pretty decent tools. I'll take it. But it's like
Yeah,
Travis at corner. He's so he's so quick twitch, bro. He's got such good like he's just so good. He's just so good.
I feel like I'm not even processing how good this kid is. He is the wide receiver and corner one.
That's crazy.
It's so crazy. But let's get on to our number two. I think where we will. I think we should all have, but it could be
Will
different.
Johnson. It should
Will
be Will
Johnson.
Johnson.
Will Johnson out of Michigan.
Ooh, I don't.
You don't. All right. Well, let's talk about Will Johnson first, and then we can get to your guy. Will Johnson. When I look at him, a technique a technique machine. I like his hips. The one thing I would say about him, and the first one's not really a bad thing. A lot of missed tackles, but he's also probably the most willing tackler of this corner group. So it's kind of like you're gonna get dunked on because you jump every time. So
Mm.
not
Saw
really
a highlight
complaining.
by him. Will Johnson. They were down huge. He ran like 60 yards across the field and made a tackle chase down on the 4
Yeah,
yard line. That's the corner you're getting.
he's going to do is get physical, and then the other one, which is going to be a problem, he's a big gambler. He is a big gambler. He's
And we're
very
not talking
double moves, and
gamble
he's
that
not
way.
necessarily the straight line speed to make up for it. But I like his physicality overall. I like his technique. I think he's got better hips than I think the geeks are giving him credit for. Um, but yeah, I like him. I like him. I just Travis Hunter is. I think Travis Hunter could like strut into the NFL and be like a top 5 corner. That's just where I'm at with him. But
Yeah.
Will Johnson, good player.
Very good player.
Danny, what was that, Chris?
I have him as my 2B.
2B. Okay.
That's fair.
Danny, do you have any comments? Chris, you have any comments on Will Johnson before we talk about that 2A?
You said a lot of great things about Will Johnson. I think he's a very, very great corner. He's going to be a starting day one corner for a team on the outside, and that's hard to come by. It's hard to come by to draft a corner who's going to come in and make an impact to your team day one. Eagles got with Quinion Mitchell to be actually their one. I don't think he's got as Quinion Mitchell, but he's somewhere between. He's not. I don't know if he's Christian Gonzalez, but he could come in maybe a right team and be their one. So,
yeah, it's very possible. Or he gets paired with a good corner. Like, let's say if Travis Hunter managed to fall to the Patriots, and it's like, yeah, he's a receiver, but like, what if we paired him with Christian Gonzalez? So, yeah, I totally get where you're coming from.
I'm literally hoping for it. Please.
Yeah. Yeah, like what you said, I have no choice but to agree because I liked what I watched. Chris, anything else on Will Johnson, or did you want to get to your next guy?
I like Will Johnson a lot.
His second guy.
And the reason
Right,
I had him at the 2B or 3,
not 2B.
technically, it is 3. Yeah, it's like I really like him a lot, but I just like somebody a little more. That's really the only reason why. And I think it's because of all the things you say. I like his tools, but also like he's just aggressive. And sometimes they can backfire, but I think you need aggression in their corner anyway because the receivers always think they're tough. So it's like you got to have some aggression, you got to have some toughness on the side. So I kind of like that about him. But the guy I had in my 2, I had Jahdae Barron, only because I just like how I like his discipline to an extent, and I like how even in discipline he still takes his gambles, and I think he still makes big plays. But also I think he's just really, really solid. And I think for Will Johnson, I'm expecting. I won't say superstar level, but I'm expecting him to be a star. So I kind of give him a little more leeway. But for Barron, I expect him to be like a rotational guy at the end of the day, but a guy that you can count on to guard a number 2 receiver or to be in that zone and be able to make the right plays, right read. So yeah, I just like him a little bit more. I like his physical tools, but I just like his. I think the calm in the storm of being a corner, especially at Texas, where you're usually going to have to go against some good receivers at some point. I think he did very well. Even in zone, I think he stood out. So that's why I had him at 2. But like having Will Johnson over him isn't a surprise. Honestly, I had him over him until I looked back and seen a little bit of things I like just a tad more. So that's only why. But I really like Jahdae Barron too.
Jahdae Barron reminds me, he's like the Nate Wiggins prospect of this draft.
Who would have thought I liked him? Because thank you, Danny. Thank you for helping me.
I like that. I like that comparison.
He's kind of like a speedier guy. He plays like the ball well, but there's certain things that you're like, all right, he could improve there, but he's definitely got the tools.
Yep.
Yeah, well, things I had noted for him: very high IQ, like Chris said. He can sit in that zone. He doesn't get caught peeking too much. Great footwork, I think, was the word I found for him because he knows he can break on the ball, but he also has the high IQ to not fall for the bait so much. My only thing is I'm not questioning the speed. The straight line speed is there, but the
Lateral
agility,
hip turning and running can be a little bit of an issue. But I like everything you said about him. Barron's my 3, so
you know what he reminds me of, Tone? The reason why I liked him, he reminds me of a really solid 3-and-D wing in basketball. Like a guy you know you can depend on for 15 points and to be able to guard the other guy's best guy, but you have your star players.
Zachary Reese-Sachet. Yeah,
36 points last night. But yeah, or 38. But yeah, like I said, like that type of guy, like a guy that you know what you're getting on that side. Like you know what you're getting on this side of the court. You know what you can get. You have your superstars, you have your stars, but you have a guy that you know if you put him out there, he's going to be in the right place, right time, and make the best of the abilities he does have. So that's kind of why I had him there.
That's for damn sure. I agree with that. He's one of them, the better players at a corner position, and I think after this, I think it kind of falls off a little bit here. I think it's the top 3. But my 4 is none other than also on a national championship player team is Benjamin Morrison. I think that he could be a legitimate outside corner and put some and be a day one starter. To be honest, he held his own in a national championship.
Held his own is a strong word, I guess you could say. Um, so I have a, there are some issues with him. One is he's small for a boundary corner. I think
Yeah,
you could say.
for 190.
He is little. Um, he could struggle with more physical guys at point of attack, trying press coverage, bump and run. Those could be an issue. Um, and then for his size, he can't rely on his athleticism. I think the way he's going to want to. I have him at 6. He's right outside of that group. Is a starting corner in the NFL outside of his future? Like, no, probably not. Like, he could probably end up starting in the league or bare minimum rotation guy. I would just like to see him get a little bit bigger. That's all I have for me.
I
But
mean,
luckily, the
he's
one you
20
can
years
get.
old.
It's not height, but yeah, he's got time to beef up a little bit. Be
Yeah,
able to
I don't.
contend.
I never really had problems with people putting up beef unless it's Emmanuel Forbes because he decided to go anorexic when he got in the league.
Well, he just shouldn't have been drafted where he was. He was just never that good.
Jalen Rager pick.
I know a certain man who was gassing Jalen Rager pre-draft.
I said second round pick.
You were saying the Eagles would dead ass take him at 20, 21, wherever we drafted him.
I said
You
they should.
were
I said they
gassing.
might. I said they might.
Yo, I'm not trying to hear it. You were gassing him. I have
I
the text.
was.
I
I
have the
knew. I
text. You
was
were
gassing him.
gassing him. You were
And he
gassing
was
him.
very. He's very. I said he was very good at running screens and bubbles and slants, which he was.
No, you didn't. You sent me a highlight. Like, yo, this dude's a beast. I was like, okay, I'm like 5 minutes in. Is he gonna run a route or like?
You did say that.
I
He
did
definitely did not run a route.
bar for bar. But
Yeah, Chris.
um,
Chris, bar for bar, he said this guy did not run a route. He said he just ran bubbles and screens.
bubbles, punt returns, gadget demon,
That's
TCU
my.
Jalen Rager. We won't forget you, baby.
Bro, but if you reverse it, if you take Hurts in the first round and Jalen Rager in the second, it's not that bad.
If we took Jalen Hurts in the first round, bro, Howie Roseman wouldn't have a job. As great as it turned out, as the pick turned out to be, even drafting him in the second round was crazy at the time because we had a $200 million quarterback. But
They did the same
I
thing with
digress.
Rodgers, though.
Yeah,
The
but
same year.
Jordan Love's like good, and Rodgers turned out to be like a perkhead.
Perky Rogers.
Perk Rodgers. Chris, what do you think about Benjamin Morrison out of Notre Dame?
Just small. But other than that, like I said, I like what Danny said about him. I think that's probably the most true thing. And like I said, I don't think small corners are obsolete. It's just every receiver is huge now, unless it's just a speed guy. And I don't know if that's gonna translate as well. But to Danny's point, I think the most important, he's still very young at 20. So I think a lot of things can develop over time. I think he has the ability to be able to do so. So I think that was pretty valid. I have at my 4, I had Siobhan Revel
Okay.
from East Carolina. And the reason I had him in 4, I think, is because I looked at him a lot more because I was seeing in mock draft that he might not fall, but like the Ravens would take him like late, or day 2 or something like that. So I just been looking at him, and I think and again, at corner, I like athletes. I like taller corners, and he has both of those. And he definitely has a lot of things to work on, But I think the frame and how he's built and the abilities that he does have is something you can build on, especially being a 4th rated corner on my list. That's somebody you're not taking in the first 2-3 rounds. So I think that would be a thing to where he can just kind of grow, kind of similar to what Danny was speaking on. But yeah, I think I just like his tool. I like his length and athleticism. Like I said, in the NFL today, you got all these bigger receivers. Never wrong, never bad to have a bigger corner. So, and especially East Carolina. And I'm not saying he went against great receivers over there. Obviously, I'm not saying that. But I think what I did see from him, he looked really, really good. So that's why I have him in my 4.
Yeah. Yeah, and you kind of said everything I wanted to say. Like the frame, what comes with the frame, you know, like with the longer legs, it takes him like an extra step. I was telling Danny this. It takes like an extra step or two to get to where you need to be. But you know, he's raw, but he's got tools. I think as a day two, he'll probably go day two. A day two pick, I can't be mad at him at all. I can't be mad at the GM who wants to bank on that. So yeah, I like him. I have him just behind Morrison. But I do think this is a deeper corner class. So I gotta say, you're my seventh rated corner. That doesn't mean you are garbage and you shouldn't play in the NFL. That means like you could mess around and you be a little bit of a journeyman. You could be you could be a solid corner for a team, like a CJ Gardner Johnson who's on a new team every single year.
Yeah,
But
and one of the reasons I have Morrison so high is he plays bigger than his frame, and he I'm not gonna lie, he locked down Marvin. Not locked down, but like Marv struggled against him in college.
sure, we'll go with that.
Marv did not have a great. He didn't have a Marv game against Notre Dame that year.
Are we box score watching or are we watching the game?
The film.
The film. Now we're just lying then. Now we're just lying. Morrison was not hanging with him. He was not. He was not.
I'm with that.
Nobody in this class was hanging with Marvin Harrison Jr. Will Johnson had to tackle Marvin Harrison Jr. and he still caught the ball in the end zone. Will Johnson even got. The only person who probably hangs with him is Travis Hunter. And if Travis Hunter couldn't shut him down, he said, "You know what? Then we're going band for band. I'm cooking your defense too."
Well, none of them could guard JSN, so that's
Yeah, because they're playing outside. We're not worried about slot boy.
he could be slot boy all he wants. He getting the ball 100 times this year.
That's good. Good for slot boy.
140.
Good for slot boy.
Yo, no, double slot boy, him and Cup.
JSN.
They're gonna play on the same. They're gonna play on the same side, stand in the same spot, run the same route.
Double whips in the slot.
But let's talk about another guy who is consensusly in like the top 5 of all of these mocks or the prospect rankings and whatnot. Let's talk about Ole Miss's Trey Amos. Trey Amos, very physical, loves press. I got him at my 4. Definitely flirting with 5 because I really like my next guy. But Amos, very physical. He can bump and run. He can get caught looking a little bit. He can get a little bit lost in zone coverage, a little lost in the sauce. But I mean, outside of that, Ole Miss just likes to produce people who are very physical. DK Metcalf, AJ Brown. We were talking about Chris Paul Jr. earlier. The only thing they can't seem to produce is quarterbacks. But
Jackson Dart on the way. They said. They told me. Unfortunately, Danny, they said Jackson Dart will be a Steeler. So
they said he's teaming up with Matt Corral in the UFL. But
no, Chris.
yeah, that's pretty much all I got about Amos.
Unfortunately, the Steelers are drafting Shadur.
Well, that's not even unfortunate because then I can root for them twice a year for a half, and then I want them to fall apart in the second half. Other than that, I'll root.
Dude, look, they have an innate ability to get quarterbacks that you like. So you have to kind of it's like the devil giving you candy or something.
Let me cook right here, though. This will happen.
He about to be a Lamar hater for the rest of his career just to make sure.
Don't worry. I've already cooked it up. Shadur goes to New Orleans. I live 4 hours from New Orleans. I can go drive and see him anytime. That's what I want.
No, he gonna make ticket prices go up, and I'm trying to go back.
We can go at the same time. We can save our monies and go at the same time. I'm going to see. Double perfect time.
What are your thoughts on Amos?
I had him in my top 5 too. I
he's
just
my
like
5.
Yeah, he's my 5 too.
Yeah, he's my 4.
Yeah.
I mean, look, like you said, there's like 7 guys that are really good here. I think it's 3 tiers of 7 guys in my opinion. It's Travis Hunter tier, the second tier.
Hunter tier.
TH tier, dude. TH tier.
Does he not get his own tier?
No. He does. That's what's just so silly about him. It's
imagine getting 2 different tiers at 2 different positions. Imagine that.
He's legit like you haven't seen a corner play corner like a wide receiver since Deion Sanders. So
They're gonna let him
I
return punts
wonder
and kicks.
why.
Hopefully, can they
Shoot,
return?
shoot,
Can he
shoot.
return punts and kicks too,
And
please?
and he got the
Oh, I'm
humiliation
sure.
ritual out the way. He cool.
Yeah, that's oh my god,
Bro, that was bad. That was really bad.
that's horrible. Felt bad for bro.
Right
It
before,
all
right before
started
his Heisman
after
too.
he won the Heisman.
No, dude, it started at the Heisman.
But yeah, basically. Well, after he was announced for the award,
They
and
said
then
before you
it's
get
like,
this award, brother, strap up. Here it comes.
yep.
Look, I'd rather now than like his rookie year, and then he gonna
Yes.
start.
Yeah, he already got it out the way. Means he's locked in for the rest of his career.
You should be friends with Kai Cenat and be chilling. He's cool.
I did want to bring up my 5 before we get into sleepers or like your guys, the rest of your top 5s. Azarie Thomas, Florida State. He's a buck. He's just 20 years old. I'm pretty sure turns 21 this summer. Will finally probably start drinking legally. But he is, I think, technique wise, I think he might have the best technique in the draft outside of Travis Hunter. Has a strong press technique, can turn and run, can break on the ball. I think the only thing holding me back is just the experience is very evident. Can fall asleep a little bit in that zone coverage. Can fall for those double moves a little bit. But I truly believe that bakes down to experience. Like, let's say, I think when it's all said and done, he's got a shot to be right behind those top 3 guys, maybe even, walking into those waters. But I would just like to see him get better in zone coverage, be a little bit more disciplined, but I think it'll come with age.
Yeah, I love that. I think he's not my top 5, but he's certainly up there.
That's fair.
I think he, like you said, he's young. I think a lot of times you see Flyers take on these young corners, and they're usually good. They just don't have enough film.
Yeah.
You take the athleticism and you build upon that. So,
Y'all can round out your top 5s.
Oh, I already rounded it. We both rounded out our top 5. Almost both of our 5s.
Then we just want to talk about our sleepers?
Yeah, I'll start off my sleeper since.
Go ahead.
Yeah, my sleeper is Denzel Burke. I think he could potentially. He's a deep cut, very very deep. Probably a day 3 pick.
The most known deep cut at this rate, thanks to Gus Johnson.
Yeah,
Denzel Burke reminds me of a kid named Denzel Ward. You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me? Hurt my feelings. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
No, but Denzel Burke, he just has the ability to make a play.
Yeah.
It's hard to describe. I don't know if it'll translate to the NFL, but it seems like he's just a playmaker. So thinking that he can make some stuff happen in the NFL.
Yeah, I like that. My only thing is he's a little too grabby for my liking, but I don't
care.
It.
I don't care about that because my team employs Joey Porter Jr.
Fair. My sleeper, I honestly have him right behind the top group of corners, like those top 7. I really do. Jacob Parrish, Kansas State, just a natural butter-like ability in man coverage to flip his hips and run. He's got limited physical tools, not the biggest, not the strongest, not nearly the fastest. And he's a little bit hazardous of spacing out in zone. But with a man coverage, a guy who can jam a little bit, bump and run. I really like what I saw from him. So yeah, Jacob Parrish is my guy.
Well, my guy, you guys have probably never heard of, but he's the son of one of my old coaches. His name is Jalen Kimber. He finished at Penn State. He was started at Florida. He had a bunch of injuries, really. He ran a 4.2 at his pro day, though, which is really cool. But he's got a pretty good length for a corner, pretty good athletic ability. Like I said, he's had multiple injuries, a lot of hand injuries, so he wasn't able to really show a lot of what his best attribute is, which is really being able to press and really be up in receivers. But I know that given a chance, he can be able to be a rotational corner or at least a special teamer. Like I said, he's my sleeper because I know nobody's probably ever heard of him because of, like I said, all the injuries. He's been to all the big schools and played a lot, but I'm looking forward to him getting a chance and hopefully making a roster. But yeah, like I said, he has really good physical tools and ran a 4.2. So if people are looking to work with tools, he has some. So Darvin
Yeah.
Ham.
We love a nepo pick, and
Yes,
I
Oh,
know the
it's
kid can
definitely
play.
nothing
I've
but a
I've
double.
watched
Nothing but.
I've watched Penn State, and I do feel you. I know the kid can play, so I hope he can
I
find his
love
way
that.
into a roster.
I love that. I don't know if this is accurate, but I see his QB rating when targeted is 98.1.
Well, when broken clock, right twice a day, something like that.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But let's move on
We're talking about Danny
to
Appreciate.
this. Let's move on to this group of safeties. It's a good group, and I think me and Danny off the bat have different ones, if I'm not
Really?
mistaken. I'll start with
I don't
mine.
think so.
Yeah, I think you're in.
Mine
I
goes to
thought you were an
Georgia.
Imamori guy.
Nah, mine went to Georgia.
Okay. Well, my one's Malachi Starks, who is going to be a Philadelphia Eagle to
Future
be.
Raven, you meant to
Or,
say, don't you even start. Don't you even start. We already
okay,
saying, don't you start.
okay,
Don't you start
okay.
that madness.
It's just like
Don't you start.
who has it worse than us?
We'll
Uh,
get one of the two. We'll
Let's
get one
note.
of the two.
Let's note. None of these safety prospects are as close as to Kyle Hamilton.
But you
no.
know how you get close to Kyle Hamilton? You put Malachi Starks next to him in a Ravens uniform.
So
And
he's
guess what?
physically the
He's
closest to
physically
Kyle
close
Hamilton,
to Kyle Hamilton. That's what I'm saying.
as close as you can be.
Like literally like a couple yards away. That's what I'm thinking.
Malachi Starks, though, I think, like as a he's just born to be a box safety. He's very physical. He's a great run defender. I would love him in the deep third and deep halves. The only thing I think he could be a little suspect to is he can be mismatched on tight ends that are a little bit bigger, a little bit faster. But outside of that, I really do like what I see. Um, I think I think if he were to be paired with Kyle Hamilton, it could be a little bit of hell for an offense when you have two guys that are willing to get downhill. You got two guys that can play deep half or deep third. You got two guys that just aren't scared of nothing. That's I don't want to spill too much on Malachi Starks because I think what's already known does have to be said.
Yeah, I agree.
And yeah,
Malachi Stark's number one for me as well. Like I said, he's went to Georgia.
Same.
He's I don't even know what to say. He's a freak. He also agrees Jalen Carter's the best player he ever played with.
well, it may be forgotten because of certain things, but Jalen Carter was gonna go number one overall.
Elite. Yes.
He was gonna go number one overall, and it wasn't real. Like in a class that had Bryce Young, who was just a Heisman winner, C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson, the freak of nature, Will Anderson, Jalen Carter was the best player in the draft. So
And look where he went. An Eagle.
hey, after all of our hard times,
That's why I'm praying for times like this. Malachi, you come on over to Baltimore, but we got crab cakes for you waiting.
No.
Don't you worry.
we're gonna get him saying two in the matter of a week.
No, please. Yes. Perfect. Perfect.
Let's move on to the next guy. Which I think we'll all have this guy too. But if he's not, I totally get it because I really like my next guy personally, Nick Eminwari out of South Carolina. Shout out South Carolina, putting out some decent guys, putting out some first round talent.
You're 9-3. They got snubbed from the playoffs, by the way, as well.
Sneaky, yes, and they destroyed A&M on the road. That was tough. Or no, they might have been home. Regardless, two things I have listed about him. Good. Three things. Great size for a safety. Great play recognizer, which is of course very important. I just think he relies on his tools just a little bit too much. Just a little much, but the play recognition along with the athleticism will get him a long way as long as he can learn to stop maybe gambling, or build up his technique a little bit more in man coverage. I like what we got out of him.
Yeah, same. I like him for the same reasons, and I think his play recognition with his athleticism is something that can be worked with and can kind of tone down a lot of the gambling. If in the right situation with the right coordinator to kind of hone that in, I think he could be special if you can do those. But at the same time, if he doesn't do those, he could be Isaiah Simmons. So it's like I think it's a fine line for him. But I think if he does end up on the right side of it, he can be close to elite. If so, because of how athletic he is and because of how he can see the game.
Yeah, yeah,
My bad,
absolutely.
my bad. Isaiah Simmons caught a stray. It wasn't even like that. He
Nah,
tricked.
no, deserved. Honestly,
He tricked
actually,
me.
because
He tricked me.
I was going to bat in 2020. I said Isaiah Simmons best player in the draft, better
Bro,
than
he
Chase
tricked me.
Young, better than Burrow,
He tricked me. He tricked me.
and he let me down. No, also let me down. Denzel Mims let me down crazy, but
Like that.
yeah, they deserve straight today. I can't lie. Danny, what's your thoughts on M and Worry?
I think Emin Worry is my number two as well. I think he's a physical freak. I think he needs to be molded on the right team. I have some obviously glaring issues, but I think goes to the right team. I think he could use him in the box more.
Yeah,
But projects to be like a Minka Fitzpatrick, Derwin James type guy.
I like
So
those comparisons. It's a high
yeah,
bar, but
very. I mean, I'm saying this is the
the
best.
ceilings, the
Yeah,
ceilings.
ceilings. So yeah, I could talk more about my three, which I don't think is your guys' three, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, it's funny because I was going to say the same thing.
Did he play at Texas?
Is his last name Mukaba?
Yep.
That's my three. Great minds think
Uh,
alike. Ones may say.
yeah, he impressed me, especially in the playoffs. Down the stretch, I felt like his name was said a lot as a safety. It's hard to be like, oh, box score watching, or oh, he's only making plays. But as a safety, your name should be heard a lot. You're the
It
last
means
line
you're
of
doing
defense.
something.
Yeah, you have to be. You're flying to the ball. You have to be pass breakups. You have to, like, as a linebacker, you're on the ball. Like, obviously, you can get filler stats. As a safety, if your name is in the picture, you're making plays. Your team trusts you to make those plays, and I think although he like, look, he is. People might not consider him in the top three. He's my three. Uh,
He's
he
my
played good
three,
football all
closer to
year.
two than four.
I agree. Uh, I don't feel like there's another. My four doesn't feel like.
My four doesn't feel, close enough to Mukaba, and then my five is a Nepo pick, and then
Who the hell's your five? I know who your five
uh,
is.
Kevin Winston Jr. But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mukaba. It sounds like Mokaba. Shout out Yu-Gi-Oh fans out there. But
Mm.
Mukaba, Andrew Mukaba, I labeled him most versatile safety in the class. The His combination of getting downhill, his combination of man coverage, zone coverage, play recognition allows him to be the most versatile. However, um, the all those tools gives him the idea of being the most versatile. However, the smaller frame could come into play. But again, like I said, he's closer to two than four for me. I think he's got just as much an argument for two as Iman Wari. I just went with the bigger guy with more experience. So that's my three.
Love that.
Yep, I had him at four. At
Okay,
my four.
that's first.
Yeah, and I had Xavier Watson my three. I had him over. Only reason I had him over him is because just pure ball hawk ability. I think he's probably the best one in the draft, including Starks and Mori. I think he's probably just the best at that. Now he does have his other shortcomings and things like that, but I think at safety in the NFL, being a ball hawk, you can kind of survive if you're in the right defense. Like if you're just around players who can make it easy for you to make those plays or make those gambles. I think he can be elite at that because he's kind of shown that already. So that's why I had him at three. But yeah, I easily can swap them easily. But yeah, I think that's giving him the edge because of his ball ability.
Yeah, that's exactly what I have listed for Watts. Great ball hawk. I think he's up there when we're talking about DBs as a group. I mean, he is as good as anybody aside from Travis Hunter. Um, we're gonna get to anyone listening who's ever watched Jujutsu Kaisen, they'll be like, this dude is the fastest aside from Satoru Gojo. Or even in the NBA, it's like this person has the most amount of 37-7 playoff games, or the second most outside of LeBron James or Will, like things like that. But with Watts though, love the ball skills. I think he reads the QB well. I don't think he allows the QB to move him with their eyes as much as some of these other guys. The only problem is I think he's a little bit out of control coming downhill. He can over pursue. He can take some bad angles, which I think is fixable. And I think when you're paired with some better backers, I think it makes it a lot easier. But I like him as kind of like my center fielder, playing that deep third or deep half, deep quarter, whatever it is. I think he's one to be reckoned with the ball in the air.
It's interesting because teams, there's like different archetypes of safeties, and he's like the opposite of the first two.
Yeah, like we just talked about a box safety. We just talked about a guy who is like an all around, like good man guy, and that he is strictly good at just finding the ball in the air and then getting downhill.
Hey man, Reed Blankenship is both.
Reed Blankenship doesn't get the ball in the air. He got one emote. It's the diving pick.
It's
the diving forward interception with 0 yak.
It's fine.
Just fall secure, baby.
I was there for his first interception when he picked off Rodgers.
Yeah, you were. That was Jordan Love's first look at action, and that was probably the first sign that Aaron Rodgers is out of there.
Not his first look at action because the Chiefs, but I think it was
his first good look at action.
His first extended look. His first look at action, he was ass.
Yeah, not his fault. Let me talk about my 5 real quick. Kevin Winston Jr. I don't want to say labeled, arguably the best run support safety in the class. And kind of like his teammate Kobe King, is a little bit suspect in the pass game and for a safety. That's not great. More so specifically man coverage. But he sees the field great. Don't want to spill on him too much, but I like him a lot. I've seen him play all year. I'm a big fan. Great run defender. Can maybe be more in that rover type deal. But I had him just above that kid from Iowa that could maybe be biased. But I disagree because I like him more.
Yo, I didn't know Dan Jackson's coming out. He's a safety. I thought he was a linebacker. Sorry. Didn't know that.
Noted.
He's my deep cut. I mentioned him earlier. Man, my deep cut is not Shiloh Sanders.
How are you just gonna call out my deep cut like that? Actually, how are you just gonna call out my guy?
Yep, my 5 is also Kevin Winston. I don't want to talk too much about it. I do have 2 deep cuts though. To start off, I do love Dan Jackson. I think he's going to be a really, really great rotational piece in the NFL team. He can play hard-nosed football, and I mentioned earlier he made big plays for Georgia defense down the stretch. And my other one played in the SEC. He was hyped up very largely for a long time. I don't know why he's falling off. It's Malachi Moore. I feel like Malachi Moore is he's what you expect out of a safety.
Yeah, I like Malachi Moore as well, so I don't blame you. And I don't
understand how he's projected to be a 6th round pick now.
I don't know. I do not.
I saw him as high as like 2nd before.
I was gonna be a real fanboy and make Jalen Reed my sleeper, but I was like, no, I'm going too far.
Too far.
It's too far, man. I can't. Too much Penn State recognition today.
You're in my waters over there.
Chris, did you want to get into your deep cut, or did you want me to go first?
My deep cut is Lathan Ransom from Ohio State, and I don't know if it counts as a deep cut because I've seen him like on big boards as like number 5. But I think the two of the main things you need as a safety are toughness and like aggressiveness. I think he has that to a T. Sometimes it's to a fault, but I think just for that alone, like I said, I talked about how athleticism is always wins in football, but also having a good IQ. But sometimes just being ready to hit somebody that'll get you on the field. And for my deep cut, I think that's why I chose him because football is a physical sport. He's physical. I'll take that, especially from a safety where you're supposed to be hard hitting people come across the middle. Boom. That's what I like to see.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I need a
Blessing and a
team to
curse.
walk out of the draft with Ransom and Burden.
And he has elite name, Lathan Ransom. That's elite.
That's
Yeah.
what, it's elite name. That's
Oh
what I'm
my
saying.
God!
Imagine a team walks away with Burden and Ransom.
When Ransom
Oh,
makes
that would be
plays
elite.
in the NFL and we get that A Boogie Ransom edit, I'll be there.
No, we getting a King's ransom.
Oof.
He going to the Sacramento Kings confirmed.
Unfortunately, light the beam now.
But let's. I try not to be,
the beam can't be
too.
lit.
Try not to spill too much on my sleeper so we can get out of here. Jonas Sanker, Virginia.
Very good player.
Man-to-man limitations. Little suspect in zone coverage, but damn it, he can get downhill. And he likes to tackle. So Virginia, not necessarily your most household football school name, but I liked Jonas Sanker when I was looking at my guys. So yeah, not too much on him. Has potential to be a great box safety in the NFL, but as a man-to-man guy, I think we'd be getting ahead of ourselves if I said that he was projected to be that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anything else? Any other names you wanted to bring up before we get on out of here?
Dan Jackson going to be a top 5. Okay,
Maybe.
I love that guy. I love dude. He's a baller. He makes plays.
No one's down in that.
Special teams player of the year incoming soon.
I'll be there.
Special teams player of the year. First man to ever predict that award.
Well, that means he's a Raven then, obviously. He's a Raven. Nah.
I think y'all got other special teams guys to worry about this offseason. Like the Watson disciple kicking the ball.
Oh no! Don't worry. What we're gonna do? I already talked to Brass. I already talked to Eric DeCosta. We got a plan. What we're gonna do is we're gonna swap destroying in Justin Tucker. We're gonna just swap them, and nobody's gonna know because we're gonna have destroying wear a full ski mask, sleeves the whole time. Nobody's gonna know.
Y'all gonna
I'm
want to
pretty
sign
sure
Antonio Brown after all these
Yeah,
years.
I'm pretty sure destroying was in the UFL and he missed a kick by like a good country mile to the left.
He did, but guess what? At least he won't be having weird allegations. How about that?
That is
and
fair.
speaking of,
Why is he around?
speaking of,
Someone has to question his appearance within the vicinity of.
Speaking of Ravens and Browns, Joe Flacco is a Brown. So there you go.
That.
A little connection. 1 year, $13 million. That means you are not going to be a Brown, brother. You are a Saint.
Interesting. Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson, Joe Flacco.
That's the quarterback room right there. It is a room.
It's the one-on-one quarterback room.
It is a room full of NFL.
No, and the Eagles just upgraded in aura. They decided to get DTR.
That's not upgrading in aura. What?
No. He definitely had more aura than Kenny Pickett.
He's filled with aura.
Yeah.
Filled with aura.
How can one have aura when they're going to be in a t-shirt and shorts every Sunday?
That's fine. You can still have aura.
Put jewelry on over it.
You don't have sunglasses.
Look, I promise you, on a team that has Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, his aura is.
But Devontae Smith doesn't really have a lot of aura.
It's like pouring water into an ocean.
Devontae Smith really is good at football. He doesn't really have a lot of aura. Now, AJ Brown,
you're gonna respect his you're gonna respect his aura right now.
No, but okay.
I have a fantastic aura. You have a great aura, Susie. Leave the man's aura alone. I have a fantastic aura. Oh my god!
First of all, if you haven't seen Devontae Smith on Melo's podcast, that was elite. It was very, very good. The whole episode, very, very.
It was
very good. It was.
Smitty goated.
Great personality. Yeah. And
what did you say? He's a Celtics fan because he knows ball.
Bro, all the Eagles were when they were at that game and they looked like regular humans next to basketball player. I was like, well, the life isn't real because if AJ Brown looks smaller than Tyrese Maxey to me, I want to go to another planet.
Derrick Henry met LeBron the other night. Of course,
they looked almost the same height, didn't they?
I knew that. LeBron was obviously taller, but I didn't look at them and was like, he
Yes.
made Derrick Henry look small because
That's what I said.
no, Derrick Henry kind of held his own.
That's what I said.
Yo,
That's what I said.
The crazy part, Tyrese Maxey's like the same height as Phillies legend Ryan Howard.
That's what I'm saying.
And we're like, I'm like, huh?
Bro,
Yeah, Ryan
it
Howard
sounds
is
ridiculous.
monster.
It sounds
Ryan
ridiculous.
Howard is literally his nickname was the Big Piece.
Imagine.
So he's the big piece, and then Boston has the big poppy.
David Ortiz and Shake Milton, same size. How about that? Look at life. Look how life does it. Look how life plays. Look at
That's
that.
funny.
Look at that.
Mookie Betts, a 5-year-old, same height.
Yeah, he's still goated. One of the best baseball players of all time.
The
Quote me on
greatest,
that.
bro. Can you believe that a certain team up in the New
Traded
England
him?
area didn't give him the pay?
Can you believe they let him play with Shohei Ohtani and Freddie Freeman? Can you
I
believe
would have.
it?
I would have probably, Danny. I would have probably ended up just like you if Mookie stayed longer. Like as a, a supporter of both. No, got rid of my goat. I said, yeah, let's keep it to the hometown.
J Ram to the Yankees coming soon, by the way. Remember I told y'all.
No.
It's
J-Ram
coming.
not moving. J-Ram
It's
not
coming.
moving.
Remember I said it here
Bro,
first, man.
Phillies
And when
are
it
not-
happens, you're gonna be like, how'd you know? I'll be like,
Listen to his voice, bro. His voice is hilarious.
yeah, he doesn't look like he sounds.
Bro,
He's
he,
He's like Michael Thomas.
no,
I seen
dude,
it
it's
at
bad.
the,
No, it's bad
home
though.
run derby.
It said he threw me home run peach, home run peach, home run peach.
Yeah. Home run derby. I was like, is that the same guy up there? What is that? What is that voice? What is that?
he can barely like speak. It's so funny though.
Perfect Yankee. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's everything from us today. Again, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Audio listeners, leave a like, 5-star review, comment, download, all the good stuff to push the algorithm. AP New Freezer, Coach by Amigos, DC Comics. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you wish Danny a happy birthday, and we'll catch you guys next episode.